turning our attention to the Big 12, where Oklahoma coach Brent Venables had the absolute definition of a mixed bag. 6-6 regular season, 6-7 after a bowl game, lost to Florida State. You had some quarterback injuries. You had a capital B bad blowout loss to Texas in one of the most important games of the entire season. Picked up a couple of victories along the way. Are we feeling better, worse, or the same about Brent Venables at Oklahoma after year one?
I'm going to say the same because I was not as high on the hire as some were, because I thought maybe there was some signal to the thing that he had never gotten these other head coaching jobs that had come open. But I think the guy was being patient, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. 6-7, not a good year. They were pretty unlucky in terms of some of their close game stuff. I think there's some chance he can improve as an in-game coach. They did put together a top 4 recruiting class in the country, which is really your job. It's get in there, figure out what you got, install your stuff, and let's go to work on the recruiting trail. They did all that. Now, I think I can't go higher because they lost a boatload of NFL talent off that team. That team was not devoid of talent. Multiple NFL offensive linemen. But overall, kind of the same, I guess. I thought they played to more of like an 8-win mark and had about 2 games of close luck, bad luck. Are we sitting here like really digging a guy that bad if they go 8-5?
No.
I'm gonna say the same. I'm gonna say it was. I would agree with Bud. Like I think I was more reasonable. Their fans were so annoying last offseason. Remember the whole? I mean, so
you
annoying.
work with one.
So, I agree. I agree. But I think you have to look at how last minute it was taking Caleb Williams with him. Like I get why the fans were upset, but they almost overcompensated in like, this is our guy and we're going to not miss a beat and he's going to be better for us in the long run. And we were all like, slow your roll just a little bit. And I think I feel the same about the hire. I think you still have to give it another chance, see how they do. I still feel good. Like he could be the long-term answer, but you just got to be, it was clearly a rougher team, but I think you always want to look at fight, and they were calling them in. They gave Florida State a handful in their bowl game.
Go ahead.
No, go.
No,
and
close
they crushed it
wins.
on the recruiting trail.
They either won or they lost close. Obviously, the blowout loss to Texas, but their wins 45-13, 33-3, 49-14, by 10, 52-42, by 14, 27-13. But then your very, very close losses, 7 points to Kansas State, 3 points to Baylor, 3 points to West Virginia, 3 points to Texas Tech, 3 points to Florida State. Outside of Florida State, those were games where they fell short, like not only on the scoreboard, but probably like Bud had more talent than maybe, except for Kansas State, obviously the eventual Big 12 champions. But in very, very interesting sort of combination. I am slightly worse, but not by much. Very, very, very small degree, but slightly worse.
When we did our how many games will Brent Venables coach in the SEC ever, I think I was like, I don't think he's going to get more than 2 seasons in the SEC. They did get a hell of a quarterback, by the way, in this last class. Yeah. So like there's some chance that makes me wrong on this.
Yeah, I'm same to slightly worse. Like they failed. Like I didn't have the highest of expectations for year one to begin with. But I did not see what happened coming their way. But they did deal with a bunch of injuries. I just think they're probably still going to be okay. I just don't know if that program is going to be at the level it was at under Brent Venables than it was with Lincoln Riley. So, and I feel like I got a little more skeptical about that too, just watching it last year. So slightly worse.
And which is maybe the whole reason Lincoln Riley left, because he knew what their ceiling was going to be and how hard it was going to be going to the SEC, which is why he went to the Pac-12. And then he didn't realize they were going to the Big Ten.
Oklahoma would, they're going to hate me for this. Oklahoma would trade for Lincoln Riley, right? If they could. After watching year one at both places, like they would take him back and rather not have lost him.
They
would put aside all the nastiness of the divorce.
If they're honest with themselves, yes.
But if they're honest, yeah, for sure.
Are there any slam dunk hires? Did we just all hit better with Mike Elko and we're just feeling slight degrees of worse?
I was same with Mike Elko.
Oh man.
I think there's some coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. TCU head coach Sonny Dykes took over a program that went 5-7 the year prior, and he took that team all the way to the national championship game. 13 wins in total. Not the exactly the most ideal performance against the Bulldogs in that title game, a historic title game loss. Better, worse, or the same about the Sonny Dykes hire at TCU than when the hire was made? Better. Danny?
And I bet that we all bet them to win the Big 12 with big money. Yeah, like
I think we were all bullish, but like Bud was really bullish. But I think even with that, you've got to look and feel better about it after what we just saw that season.
I wasn't winning 13 ball games bullish.
Right.
I was like, this is a favorable schedule and they have decent talent. Maybe they can get to the title, to the conference title game bullish, not the national title game. Like that was amazing. They continue to do a nice job in the portal. High school recruiting's picking up some. Dykes in Texas goes out and he gets Kendall Briles to replace Riley, who leaves for Clemson. I'm definitely higher.
Same.
God.
You're so
same. Well,
Man.
Here's what I thought. Sonny Dykes is going to come into TCU and he's going to be Sonny Dykes and he's going to do Sonny Dykes stuff. They had an incredible year. I know, but do you think they're going to win the Big 12 and get back to the playoff again? Or do you think they just had an incredible year in which they had a point differential of what? Let me check here. On the season in the Big 12, they had a point differential of 127 plus. That's good in 9 games. Except 79 of those points came in 2 games. The win over Oklahoma, in which Dylan Gabriel got hurt, and then the 38 or 40 point blowout win of Iowa State at the end of the season. Every other game they played was a 1-score game. There was a lot of luck involved. I'm not saying TCU has to give any of it back, but there was a lot of luck involved in a lot of their wins. They got beat by Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. They got blown out in the title game. They lose a bunch of dudes to the NFL. I don't think TCU is at the level where they're going to just be able to replace all those. I'm not taking away anything that happened, but I think Sonny Dykes is a very good coach. He's going to have very good seasons at TCU. I'm not going to let that season completely skew my thought of what the hire is. That's why you hired him, to score points and hopefully things go your way.
I think Sonny Dykes will win another Big 12 title, especially once Texas and Oklahoma lead the league. Like
this year, do you think he's going to win them every year? Do you think he's going to be like 2022 all the time, or do you think that
probably not?
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so if TCU, let's call it a game and a half, 2 games of luck last year. Is that fair?
For the scramble drill,
instead of 12-0, 10-2.
That's good coaching.
Kansas.
That's pretty good coaching to have your stuff ready to get out there.
Yeah. They were calm.
But you're in that game. Why are you in that close of a game? Why are they always in close games? You got to the national title game. Was Georgia playing a bunch of 1-score games?
This guy's hard.
Come on. We're gonna the way we've talked about TCU all last year. Now we're gonna pretend they were a juggernaut. Come on.
The White Sox lose again. Thomas feisty today.
Better. The White Sox won 17-4. Thank you very much.
Ooh,
but
okay,
my only point is, all last season, all of us were like, hey, yeah, TCU's good. We're expecting this. They're not like a juggernaut. And now we're pretending they were a juggernaut. Our opinion has improved. They were so incredible. No.
I feel better because I was not confident that Sonny Dykes was going to step in and be able to level up TCU and fix everything around TCU, right? I mean, you had a bad situation with a locker room that was not feeling great about the leadership, and you were able to come in, and they've got a statue out of that man outside the stadium. It is real. I mean, it's a tough situation to come in and manage. And you talk to people who want to come around the program, like where Gary Patterson was crazy and like super wound tight and wouldn't let anybody come see anything. Now, if you go in, Sonny Dykes will invite you into the program. He'll walk you around. I think that at a TCU program that we should not forget was not in a power conference that too long ago, and a TCU program that operates in a school that is kind of a small community. I think the combination of Sonny Dykes' laid back attitude and yet Texas connections is perfect for TCU. And I think that like, it's not just the memes of the Hypnotoad, but it is the willingness of being able to embrace stuff that is a little bit more fun just to keep the guys loose. It was great chemistry across that team, and I credit the head coach for that. I thought that Sonny Dykes could have Sonny Dykes Cal results at TCU, and now my expectations are up. I think that he has TCU competing for a Big 12 title every 3 years moving forward in the future of the Big 12.
Which is exactly what my expectations were. Same.
I think he'll compete for the Big 12 title more than every 4 years. I think they'll be. I think they'll be pretty close to it. I mean, that's the best spot to recruit to in the new Big 12. They're going to have plenty of money because they went to the national title game, and he's like a native son. When he goes to the boosters, I think they're going to say yes to him. I think guys like coaching for him. There is value in getting lucky and being good and like having positive vibes and momentum that can start the ball rolling. I think some of these guys that we listed out today are not bad coaches. They just kind of ran bad as far as bounces and stuff. And that can actually derail your tenure at a place.
Danny, you're better. No questions.
Better for sure.
Yeah. Come on.
Absolutely.
Simpletons.
Let's see what Tom's abacus says about this one. So Joey Maguire stepped over to Texas Tech. He goes 8-5 in year one. Joey Maguire, lots of in-state connections. What do we make of the Red Raiders? What of Joey Maguire and the hire 1 year later?
Same.
Better. Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
No, you go. You go. Same. I want to hear your argument.
All right. When a fan base like hypes a guy up like crazy, and then he does what they said he was going to do, it makes me like I'm usually going to discount what the fan base is going to tell me in year one because they all tell me that he's going to be awesome everywhere, right? Every one of these hires, the fans are like, this is a great hire. You know, at LSU, absolutely should have hired Napier, and Freeman's way better than Kelly, and all this other stuff, right? But they're not always right. In fact, most of the time they're not fully right. And Maguire, I think, lived up to everything that Texas Tech fans hoped he could be and told us he could be. I thought he did nice in-game coaching to squeeze 7 wins out of that roster. Did they win the bowl game? So, or did they lose the bowl game? I forgot. But like the 7-5 regular season,
When they beat Ole Miss in the Texas Bowl,
right? So you get it. You win 8 ball games. I thought he had really good like game management. Their recruiting is what they said it would be. Very Texas focused. They're have a decent feel for who they can and can't get, and they don't try to swing on guys they can't get. They try to get on certain guys they can get early. It's Texas Tech. Like, you're not winning national titles there. Can you consistently go to bowl games? I think this guy probably will. And they have an identity. Like, now I know what Texas Tech's going to be like. They play really hard, kind of feisty on defense at times. They're not good, and they'll score a lot of points.
I'll say better because I was dubious of what this hire was going to be like. Felt like he was like a rah-rah guy and was curious to see what kind of substance was behind it. You have to consider, too, they won with quarterback, shuffling because Tyler Shuck was hurt. They had the young, Donovan kid that struggled a little bit with interceptions, so he had a little turnover bug. And, I mean, it was as much as I was doubtful because I don't like when the boosters come in with the power play and they force somebody out because they have their guy and they want to make it. So I came in a little bit negative on the hire, but I'm way more optimistic. So I'll say better.
I'm saying simply because if I break down what happened here, like they got overtime wins against Texas and Oklahoma, which is huge. Like if you're Texas Tech and you beat the Longhorns and the Sooners in the same season, you're going to be feeling pretty good about your year as long as those aren't the only 2 wins. But other than that, like they lost to Kansas State, they lost to Oklahoma State, they lost to Baylor, they lost to TCU. They kind of played at their level where they were winning the games you expected them to. And yes, the Texas-Oklahoma wins were big, but I don't know, was Quinn in that Texas game, or was that a Hudson Card start? Pretty sure that was Hudson Card, correct?
37-34.
It was right after the Bama game, right?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was a Hudson Card start. And you beat Oklahoma at the end of the year, and Oklahoma had a down season. So you took advantage of them. But I feel like they played to their level, which for Texas Tech is kind of what you're hoping for. It's to go along the same lines of what I was talking about with Duke. Like Mike Elko had a much better record after the first year, but he kind of did what I expected. I think this is what Texas Tech is going to be. Now, maybe once Texas and Oklahoma leave, Texas Tech can find a few more wins on the schedule in the new Big 12 with the new AAC and the BYU teams coming in. But I think that's just, they had the season I expected. So same.
Texas Tech has an identity. I totally agree, Bud. And that identity, to quote Tom Fornelli, is the pain in the butt team. Mm-hmm. They are the pain in the butt for every single Big 12 team. It is not going to be fun. They are explosive offensively, and they are, as Bud mentioned, going to be playing really, really hard along the way. I'm better. Yeah, you show up to Texas Tech, a place where you can just sort of get floundered and washed away in kind of that 5-7, 4-8 kind of world. And I think just having an identity, knowing who you are and what you do helps on the recruiting trail, and it helps on Saturday in what is always going to be in the Big 12, just bonkers games. Like there are going to be, if you're really good and you know who you are and what you do, then you're going to be better in some of those pressure-packed games. I like Joey Maguire. I am better than I was 1 year ago.